Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Men's Couch, a podcast about men's mental health. I'm Alex.
And I'm Micah,
I'm Dimitri.
And I'm Daniel.
and this is the Men's Couch. So I wanted to start this podcast because I want to begin like a discussion about how we can discuss men's mental health. I feel like it's a subject that's like not really talked about enough, and it's just, I wouldn't say it's getting better, but I feel like there's a lot of, we need to bridge that gap between just men seeking help and also just opening up discussions about it. I think it's important. But I'm curious to know what what does mental health, like what is this topic, what does that mean to like each of you?
Who wants to start? I guess I should start. I should probably start because I'm the one talking.
Okay, you go.
Yeah. So, once again, my name is Alex, and mental health is very important to me considering I'm a guy, and I feel like when it comes to like social norms, men are supposed to be all quiet, and we're supposed to be emotionally like, what's the word?
Stoic.
Not emotional at all.
Emotionally like numb or stoic.
Yeah, we're not supposed to have emotions or
Just keep it all in.
yeah, like the soft side of guys are like all closed off. But recently, nowadays, I feel like it's getting more spotlight of men having emotions and more ways to show that, and like people being more accepting of that. But it's still a topic that should definitely still be addressed.
Yeah, I believe so. And I feel like you're the complete opposite of like men that at least like I've grown up to know, because you're just like expressive. You're just like, you okay with being that way. And I think it's a lot of like social shame or just like social pressure, stigma to maybe put on like this front or something like that.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, I think it's but I think like what like my goal for this podcast is to not like have all the answers, but like to at least like begin a discussion or a conversation about it.
Yeah,
like add to the conversation.
Exactly, that's a good
Yeah.
point. What about you two?
I think mental health, like in my experience, means pretty much mental health pretty much means like if you're dealing with like a mixed emotion or something that's not pretty much right for you, you're pretty much in like a funky situation, saying like if you have a huge chest, then you'd pretty much be scared, or if you like have some fear of something, you're like, I should say like nervous about it, but deep down inside you're like kind of scared.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Let's-
Like a good
Let's sort of, I like how you mentioned that example because like you mentioned like, hey, like being like afraid of things, and men are allowed to be afraid of things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Example.
You're not supposed to be afraid.
All right, I'm gonna call myself out for a second. I'm afraid of spiders.
Okay.
All right, and I know the freaking meme of like, I don't know if you guys have seen that. Oh, you guys have seen that meme of like there's a spider in the house. You freaking jump onto the couch. It's like
I'm
a
not
song.
sure. I'm not sure.
And like the girlfriend like basically goes like, you kill that because you're the man, and then
That's so funny.
yeah,
That's
and then the
yeah.
man goes like, what? You're a total anti-sexist and a patriotic fighter, but the whole worldview collapses the moment there's a spider. And
That's so funny,
he kind of
yeah.
goes on this like little funny little rant. It's like a minute-long song,
Mhm.
and I feel like, yeah, like it's funny, but at the same time, it's also one of those things where like it shows that men also can be afraid of things.
Yeah, it shows that even though we might like show to people that we're not like, we don't have those things, that we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And just learning to like discuss this is like, first of all, like this is hard right now. This is like hard for, I don't know if it's hard for any of you, but this is like hard because we're talking about like a subject that's like not necessarily like always discussed, and we're going into some like territory that can be hard to discuss. So I think, but I'm already starting to like this conversation because we're like sharing our like thoughts about it. So I
Yes,
think it's
indeed.
off to a
Mhm.
good start. What you do, Dimitri?
Sorry.
Yeah, Dimitri, I feel like you
Yeah,
haven't
sorry,
said
I was-
anything
You're
yet.
right, you're right. But
No.
adding on to what he was saying. Oh shoot, I'm really quiet. Adding on to what he was saying about the talking about like being afraid of things. It's like my dad. It's like I'm not like hating on him or anything. It's just like how he was raised. It's like the men does like It's like the men is like does most of the stuff like the men like provide stuff like that. He's like one of those people, which is like
Mhm.
cool and all. But it's like if I'm like complaining about something, I'm like. He's like, this generation is so soft, but I just think it's funny just because like I just feel like it's so different now with like social media especially, and just like how we were raised compared to like how he was raised, because he was like it's just like we're just way different people. Like he was raised like he had to provide at like a young age, and like I'm like pretty fortunate about the situation I was in because I didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like the whole thing about it is just like we went through a lot. Like he had to be mentally strong. And I feel like I try to be mentally strong too. Sometimes it's just like different because he's just like I feel like that's just how he was born. Like his like mom was like really that's how his mom was to him. He was just like yeah.
Like he had to be the man of the house.
Yeah, like a young age. So he just has that. He just has that mindset, and like that just makes me think like. Because I feel like he does go through things, but like he's the type of person that doesn't show it at all. Like
Yeah.
he just,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
that's what I was trying to get at. Like,
Yeah.
because
Right.
sometimes I can tell I'm like, oh, are you good? But I wouldn't say he has like an ego, but he is just not the type of person that wants to talk about his feelings because he thinks it's like makes him look soft.
Yeah.
That makes sense because like if you are the man of the house, you're the one that protects.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's like the
Uh-huh.
the title,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
of the whole thing. Crap, what was I going at? I was actually gonna say something pretty deep, but
Yeah,
well,
but
not deep, more like add to the conversation. It's like more like he's supposed to be like the protector, so he can't really show.
yeah, like he thinks it makes him
Yeah.
like look like weak and stuff. Is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like,
Well, I'm not really talking about your dad, but that's like an example.
it is an example. Yeah, no, 'cause, like that's how he is though. Like
Mhm.
honestly.
I feel like that's how most, like,
Men are
or like dad specifically, feel.
of like a specific generation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they always like feel uncomfortable with like their own surroundings or their feelings that they're dealing with in life. They just
Right.
kind of keep it private.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like a bear, like the male bear, or I guess, I know it's more like the mama bear, but imagine
Yeah.
as the dad bear, protecting the family from the wolves,
Yeah.
the coyotes.
Yeah, that's really an interesting point that you like came up with, because I feel like like some generations. I feel like it's worse in like maybe older generations because the way that they live, it was like you weren't like supposed to have any of these emotions. You only show anger or like aggression or
Mhm.
any like sort of like fear is just. It's like, what's wrong with him? It's like, toughen it up.
The audacity.
So, so toughen it up. It's just,
The audacity.
but I think, I feel like, probably explains a lot of why men might, behave the way they do, like what you just mentioned about like the history of just societal norms and societal pressures. I feel like that might have to do with like, why are men like this?
Mhm.
And we watch movies like Barbie, and I feel like we need to like
I haven't watched it.
we need-
Yet.
oh, you haven't watched it. We
Yeah.
need to like sort of, and I think I love Barbie, but I feel like we need to maybe like think a little bit like deeper about like those questions, or like, why is Ken like that? Why are we like sort of put in like a position where we don't feel okay to
Right.
show that. And this is like weird because like my like you guys, like my friends, are like the complete opposite of like the male stereotype. Like you show who you are, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I think that that's like an important like part to at least understanding. We might not have a full answer of like, okay, why men are less likely to seek therapy, but that might when we look into history, we might like understand that more in regards to like today's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point that you made.
Speaking of Barbie, like I was gonna bring this up later, but since you brought it up, and I know Dimitri, you haven't seen the movie, so
I gotta see
But-
it soon.
yeah. So I feel like this could be a whole different episode, like topic, but like just to like bring it up to the surface a little bit. That movie definitely shows the gender stereotypes
Patriarchy.
a lot.
But it does it in a very comedic way.
It does,
Is it
but
in a
it definitely
comedic
brings
way?
up the surface.
Yeah.
Mostly for the women, which yeah, like as well. But there's also some men ones that they did bring
Yeah.
up. Which is why I feel like a lot of people don't like the movie is because they don't show a lot of men's like problems, which they honestly, in my opinion, they do.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but
Yeah.
also another thing I've been learning in my sociology class,
Okay.
and you've been talking about like how men are raised.
Yeah.
So it's called, I forget what it's called, but it's like gender socialization.
The
Something-
socialization process.
Yes, but
Yeah.
for genders.
Mhm.
So like, they did this test like I don't know when. It's where like they had two babies,
Okay.
right? And they had one baby in a blue blanket and another one in a pink blanket.
I've heard
Okay.
about
So
this,
boy-
about this.
So with the
Yeah.
pink blanket, they assumed that one was a girl, and the blue one they assumed
Think
that's a
that
guy.
one- Yeah. Okay.
So with the pink one, they hold it more gently, like closer to their chest. Be like, hey little girl, like what's up? Like more softly, more like it's like fragile. But if they put that one down, they put out the blue one, they start like a little bit more rough. Like
Okay.
I'm not saying like throw into the ceiling or anything like that.
I see
but,
where you
but I'm talking more like hey, what's going on, buddy? And like
Yeah.
yeah, but what they that they did, the ultimate reveal after they did the test was, oh, by the way, the blue one was a girl and the pink one was a guy, but they didn't realize they were actually doing that,
What they were doing.
what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Because that's just like ingrained into them. Just like, okay, well, guys are, I had to raise my son like as more rough, or women need more like more
Right.
like nurture or whatever. But yeah, I guess like I would say they weren't conscious of it until I guess like they revealed
Exactly.
the genders.
They weren't conscious
They
of
weren't
it
conscious
until
of it.
they actually told them. With the guy, they were more rough, but with the girl, they were more gentle. But they didn't
know.
mentally note that. They just did it because
Yeah.
Because before
Yeah.
they had like no idea what they
Yeah.
were doing to the babies.
exactly
Yeah,
like
they
yes.
didn't know what they're So I think that's a good thing that you brought up, because I think that's that's sort of like an example. I wouldn't say example, but like of how we were raised, and like maybe like generations past of how we're raised to that men don't need the same nurture that women do.
Yeah.
So
Or how they treat.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that like goes into, which is an uncomfortable topic, but that goes into that. It shows you like, okay, then that's like point A is like the babies, but like point B is like men today, or adult men, about how they think that paying attention like all this like emotional stuff is like not important, because like that was what was at point A. That's what happened at point A. It's like
point
it
A.
wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't like important. Yeah, but I want like I kind of have a question that's like, I want like well, I'll ask this, like, what do you think like would be, now that we started the podcast, what do you think would be some good things to like discuss?
Okay. I want to go back to the first point we talked about like what is mental health like what do I like think of it?
Oh yeah,
basically.
what does it mean to you?
Yeah. So we're backtracking a little bit, but I want to go back to that. I don't know if I'm like too. I don't know if I'm too quiet, so I'll get.
No,
I'll
we
get
can hear you.
You're
Okay.
fine.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so I feel like the thing about it that I think about is like thinking about like, to me it's like relationships. That's the first thing that comes up, and thinking about like when men are like out of relationships. I feel like the state like that's like the norm is like the first thing that men want to do, and me included, is like we want to better ourselves because we think that like we were in the wrong, I mean, which we might have been. Like we might have been in the
That's
wrong.
an important thing that you discussed, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Important point.
Yeah. So, talking about how like not that we blame ourselves for something that went wrong. Well, in my instance, I did for a while, even though it was like kind of both our faults. But the whole thing about it was that just like, as soon as like you get out of it, you're just like, we gotta better ourselves. We gotta like do what we can to like make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Today is World Mental Health Day, and I forgot that, so I don't know
Well,
how
yeah,
I
I did
forgot
not
that.
know it was
It's actually
that
Men's
was-
Mental Health Day.
It's Men's Mental Health Day?
We didn't even know
Men's
that
mental
actually.
health.
How do I not know?
That is actually funny. This is the first episode of the
How
Men's
did I
Mental
not
Health.
know that?
This is
Like-
the
How did I
first
know that?
episode of. We just
I
got.
thought it was just World Mental Health
We just
Day,
got
but
a
I
note
apparently
from
just-
our manager, and
Okay, sure.
yep, it's Men's Mental Health Day for the first episode.
How did I not
That
know
is actually funny. All right, anyway, back to what you're
How
saying.
ironic we're talking about mental health
Okay,
and
good.
it's
But
mental
that's
health day.
that's an important thing that you made up about how we want to better ourselves. Do you think it can be like a good and bad thing, or do you like what do you think?
I feel like in my situation, I feel like I like looking back on it, I feel like I learned a lot from the situation. So like it's not it's not always that you have to better yourself. It's just like you think you have to, but I'm not gonna lie. In my instance, I feel like I really had to, because like I wouldn't say like I suffer with body dysmorphia. Basically like thinking I was like really skinny. I was really skinny. I was only like 120 pounds.
That's another thing I want to discuss. But go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I was only like
body image.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely get back to that. But
yeah, exactly. So I was only like 120 pounds at like my same height, 5'10", and I'm still pretty skinny. I'm like almost 150 now. But yeah, in that instance, I was like, not that like I thought that like I wasn't like good looking or anything. It was just like I want to get stronger, because like I know the norm is like if you're ever out with your like if you're ever out with someone, you like want to be able to like try to protect them. Not necessarily that you have to. It's just like you want to be able to. That's one thing, but it's also just like I'm just like I don't know. I just like wanted to also going to the gym. Just like feels really good. So it's like you just feel like you get that dopamine rush afterwards.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I'm definitely in the same boat as you, Dimitri. I was a skinny stick man. Like, when you draw a stick figure?
Yeah, I still
that was
kind of
me.
am, but it's just like you can see a little bit more definition now.
Yeah, like, I'm on the same boat as you when it comes to weight. Actually, a year ago, I was actually 120.
Me too, bro.
But then, like, I went to the gym, and now I'm 140, which is honestly amazing, because the doctors actually thought there was something wrong with me, like,
That's
my
crazy.
weight,
Yeah.
because they didn't know why. But, yeah.
It's all about eating. You just gotta eat like so
Yeah,
much.
exactly.
That's like really like so the most important thing.
Yeah.
I'm on the same path as like Dimitri and Alex. Like last year I weighed like 130 pounds, but I started eating more and like going to the gym within like the past 2 years. Like I started weightlifting my junior year, and it helped me like put a lot of weight on. Like I remember in 10th grade I was like, 120 pounds, and I started like lifting more, eating a lot more, and now today I'm like up to 160 pounds. But as I started like going to school and like been stressed, like not eating as much, I dropped down to like 150 pounds again. So like mental health can have big factors on like your weight
Oh, yeah,
and
for
like
sure.
what you can do.
Yeah. It's both. It's like you have to balance it out. And one or the other can help either way. Like, if you start lifting, it'll probably help you mentally.
For sure.
And
It helps so much.
if you help yourself mentally, help you get stronger physically.
Exactly.
Magic. Yeah. Micah, did you say you had something else to discuss with?
No, we can discuss it in a later podcast. It's mostly like about like body image and how we can have like just better body image. But we can discuss
Yeah.
that at a later podcast.
Yeah, that'll be a different episode.
But yeah, I mean, mental health itself, the topic, and I don't know, like the word sort of like, because it's not necessarily overused, but like the word itself can like bring up a lot of just connotations or maybe like narratives about like
Ooh, big
this
word.
is what mental health is. It's like you
All
know,
right.
but mental health is just like it's like more not necessarily broad, but it's like it's in our day-to-day lives. So I think it's more than like what we think.
Mm-hmm.
As a psychology major, I am going to sometimes I can get a little like talk about too much, but I think like the thing is just we trying to break out of those norms that we talked about earlier
Mm-hmm.
is gonna like involve getting like uncomfortable and like
Yes.
because you just been like brought up that way, and it's like it's still like I'm still on a journey of like realizing that I don't have to like hide anything, or I don't have to live in these like societal norms.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take it's
Right.
Agreed. Yeah.
and like and there needs to be like a lot of like patience like for all of us, because
Mhm.
with our personal journeys about like sort of bridging that gap, because it's still you know it's like still hard because we just like it's like, well, I don't know how to be like emotionally like in tune, or I don't know like any of these things. So like when it gets to like if you're like in a relationship or whatever in any context, is you need to like give yourself some like patience if you don't necessarily know like the tools automatically to you know to have like a good relationship or good mental health. It's uncomfortable. It's like it's gonna start with like because you're breaking out of that stigma,
Yeah.
because part of you still believes that
It's normal.
like,
Or, like,
this isn't
It's what's
this
supposed to be or something.
it's like part of you believes like okay, it's supposed to be normal, but then part of you is like, well, I don't like it's just doesn't feel normal, because you know you've always associated like talking like about emotional things, we've like associated that with like women, or you
Mhm.
know we've associated that, but I would like to have like this to be like a like conversation to add to the conversations about like changing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I think a lot of things have happened, especially within the past decade, to change that. But I still think we can, you know, add to the conversation. We don't have all the answers, but we can like find some like answers through
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
discuss it.
Discuss it, yeah,
That's the big word of the day.
yeah.
Discussion.
It's sort of like what conflict we were talking about conflict in our group. So I think
Yes.
that's our like inner conflicts with like how we want to break out of those norms, but like part of us wants to, but like part of us like sort of we feel like we can't.
Yeah, because it's
Do you
like
understand what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
yeah,
you
we
understand
do.
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
At least I do. Do you guys any input on that?
I think I understand what he's saying. I was
Yeah.
gonna, or Danny, do you want to say something?
I guess I can go.
Yeah.
If you like have a conflict or struggling with something like about mental health, like
Mhm.
it's always easy to like talk about your feelings to the other person around them, because it can help you a lot better. Like, don't be afraid to like talk about your feelings, because it only makes the situation worse if you don't.
Yeah.
That's the thing that we need to learn. Well, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still learning how to talk.
I'm still doing that as well. It's about like trying to open up and
That's
talk
yeah.
about it.
It's still
Yeah.
like
Like-
really hard for me to do that, because I don't know. It's even though like you know, it's just still hard because you just like always have just been told like, oh, you need to like toughen it
Yeah,
out, like
suck it up,
yeah,
buttercup.
you need to like
Yeah.
just do
That's-
all
that
that.
is
From the
necessary.
That's what I've always been told.
Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, you've
Like-
been told to do that, and like when like someone is telling you to like open up, is like, well, I don't know how to do that.
Like I want to add. Oh,
Yeah,
right,
go ahead.
okay. So like back to what I was saying beforehand about like you that reminds me of something you saying toughen up.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how like my dad was like when I went through a breakup. Like he gave me like a couple of days, and he's like, "All right, yeah, you should be like moving on already." Or like a week. He gave me like a week.
Let's
'Cause that's how he was brought up. That's how
let's
he.
park right there.
That's how he was
Sorry.
brought up though. Like that's
Yeah.
literally because he brought up like an analogy about like him going through like a breakup, but at like an older age, and I was like, yeah, this is my first relationship, so it's like tougher for me. But like, and then what that made me figure out though is like, I still open up to him about certain things, but there's certain things that I'm not gonna open up to him about just because like he just like I'm not saying he doesn't understand. It's just like he's just like an older guy, and that's just like not how he was brought up. So it's like I can't really talk to him about it as much for someone else that actually like relates to it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It's more normal to talk in our generation, which is a good thing. It's more normal to talk about just like our emotions and problems. But what you mentioned there is like it just like toughen up. That like discourages us from
Opening it up,
opening up.
Yeah,
which
it definitely
could
did.
lead to pretty bad things
Yeah,
in the
it's
future.
pretty bad things. Yeah,
Yeah, like we've
Yeah.
seen all throughout the news, like
yeah,
stuff I'm not going to mention on here
yeah,
happening.
Oh, I was about to say it, but I can't
Like,
remember.
I
what
was
to say.
gonna say.
We won't say it then.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just things like in society about like the effects of not being able to share things or share what's going on. We've seen those effects.
Mhm.
Obviously those are like extreme consequences, but it's just in order to, and then I don't have like a full answer about like how to solve those things in like the world. I don't know.
What do you mean, Mike? You don't have all the answers, man.
No, I
Okay.
don't
What do you
have all the
mean that by
answers.
that, Micah?
I don't have all the
You
answers,
should
but
have all the answers, bro.
what I do, what I
You're majoring
can
in
say
psychology.
is that like, but what I can say is that like conversation helps, and it helps to bridge a gap with like understanding and like coming to understand everyone's background of like even how they grew up, and just understanding like why someone can't open up or why they feel like this is like a problem. So it's just like it's a lot of like understanding that needs to be taken into consideration, and I feel like this is just like I don't have I have like it's getting better. I'm getting better as far as like trying to like open up to people or like be honest, but there's still a lot of just things like just like masculine like standards that none of us can live up to that we've all broken like the man rules or whatever that we've like sort of had to
Yeah, like I'm never gonna be Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
yeah
That'd
Style
be
body.
cool.
I
That'd be
mean, I
cool.
wouldn't mind that.
That would be
Cool
awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be
I wouldn't
awesome.
mind that. But
Awesome.
like, realistically, most men can't achieve that, like body.
yeah
Even though in like a lot of media, like a lot of people expect you to for some reason, or like.
or like maybe even it can be like with just like physical standards,
Mhm.
or maybe even like just like we go grow up with Batman, and like I love Batman. I love
Oh, so
this
do I, yeah.
series. I love the show, but
Riddle me this, Batman.
I love the show, but you in real life you're gonna there's gonna be times where you feel like most vulnerable. You're not
Just
gonna
like Batman.
be
Yes.
Batman.
Act like Batman.
Literally in the movie. he
Yeah,
goes through
literally.
that. You literally see
Yeah.
it. He literally goes, or like if you watch it, he literally goes through the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to nerd out for a second, but I mean, this is not the place
I'd
for
love
it.
to hear it.
But like, Batman in the comics, like he's mentally way worse than he is in the actual movies.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good example. I'm gonna go on this. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Alright.
in the comics, all right, this is about to go nerdy, but in the comics, he's so mentally scarred up that he has he has an alternate personality
Mhm.
called Xehanort, which is like a
I
more.
think I heard about this.
Yeah, it's Batman in his head,
Mhm.
but like with a more colorful outfit, and he's more cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Oh my gosh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
has like
I think I
like,
saw that
he,
scene.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
like a yellow red suit, and he's more insane
Okay.
than Batman is. Like
Yeah.
he actually does the kill rule that Batman doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Like he breaks the kill rule.
Yeah.
But people even like Batman. like even with that physical physique and everything, is still mentally messed up.
Do you think that like all of us can like relate to like someone like Batman, where he like on the outside it might not like look like he has any of
I know what you're saying.
yeah
Like
Do you-
Every man can relate to that.
yeah
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, none of us are rich billionaires or anything, but like,
You keep it
Yeah.
all in. That's what you do.
yeah
yeah, like Batman, he keeps it all in. Like his parents, for example,
hmm
That woman in Dark Knight, she gets like blown up. He keeps that in.
he keeps that in.
oh my god
Yeah.
Like it's like us guys, you know, like we experience loss,
hmm
but we don't know where or how to express it, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like how Batman does it.
right we don't that which is I guess it's another thing that we can like we have a lot of ideas now.
Yeah, I know.
See, we came up with
these
ideas
ideas can go into future episodes.
We said to start
Yeah.
talking. We said to like start
Like tangents.
like the Barbie and like the other
I'll
stuff.
have to watch it for the next episode.
Like with Ken.
yeah
Honestly, we
can.
should do a Barbie episode, but
We need to
that's
do
not the
Barbies.
point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But just like the whole scope of it, and I just felt like sort of like maybe people sort of like felt like I need to, as a psychology major, to go into that like aspect of to go into that field with like I guess maybe working with like men, because I feel like it's a number one, it's the need, but also it's just I just like relate so much with the books that people like the authors about like how they grew up with trying to knowing that like they did not live up to the masculine ideals, and they felt ashamed for that. They
Mhm.
felt ashamed for like their own personality quirks that did not live up to like a masculine like ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like definitely back in the day, it was
Yeah.
definitely really bad.
So they I guess they like morphed into what society wanted of them.
Yeah.
So they weren't allowed to be like their true self because that's just not like accepted.
It was not normal.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Like yeah, you can look at a number of like authors, like celebrities, singers, of like them being like different,
yeah.
and people are like, "Oh my God, he's weird."
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like an important thing that like people don't realize either is that like I feel like it should be more acceptable to have like bad days or like if
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
like
Yes.
if you're going through it, then like I feel like people need to understand like, oh, you know, we all go through it. Like, you know, it's not every day is gonna be good
Mm-hmm.
because this one
Yeah.
sounds so
That's another thing
cringy.
that we can like
Yeah.
go off of.
Okay, sorry. But this one sounds
Yeah.
so cringy, but like, you know, like it makes the really good days like, you know, better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the whole
Exactly.
thing.
Or
I-
even the
yeah.
bad days better if you talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but like I thought the whole thing about it, at least for me, relating to mental health, that like, and we already touched on this earlier, but just like finding like a hobby, just like distracting yourself if you are having a bad day,
Yes.
is really important.
Yes.
But you know, there's sometimes where like you like literally just can't, you know, like maybe you like do something, you know, like you have regrets, and then you like do stuff, and you're like, oh, well, I wish that didn't happen, but
What you talking about the other day?
I did talk about that
You
the other
talked
day.
about the other
Because
day,
like you
yeah.
just go through that, you like stuff happens, and then like or like you do something, and you're like, oh, you know, that's regret, but then you kind of just have to live with it and kind of just move on. And sometimes you just can't distract yourself, but other times you can. That's just basically what I was talking about.
I like what you mentioned about like good days and bad days, like how everyone asks like, "How's your day? How's your day going?"
Exactly.
It's just
we,
like,
we just say good. That's all.
yeah,
we,
it's like good. It's like, but like it's not really good.
just-
good. And
Yeah.
I like the people that can sort of like take the word. You don't even have to say anything. They just take it right out of you,
Mm-hmm.
and they just like they can like tell.
You can tell what's wrong.
Yeah.
Or not what's wrong. Something's wrong.
They
That's-
can like tell, which is good, but it shouldn't have to like get to that. And I feel like yeah, we just like go like about we're not allowed to have a bad day. Like what's
I
up
feel like
with that?
the whole,
So you had a
Like you're
bad
entitled to have a
Yeah.
bad day, pretty much.
Yeah, we're just like not allowed.
day. You had a bad
We always have
day.
to like. That's another thing, like another pressure to like,
after
always, like,
after you.
be like the on the go hustling. I'm going well all the time. Like it's just like
No,
That's
That's
not-
not. That's not like true to like how you really feel. What were you gonna say?
the whole thing about it too is that like someone asks you how you're doing, you know, like some people like they might genuinely mean it, but I feel like that's just like a norm that people, you know, like,
Yeah.
when you meet, like I'm not saying this doesn't sound rude. I feel like not like people wouldn't like necessarily don't want to hear it, but it's like
Mhm.
something you ask, so it's not like people in their head are like, oh, I don't want to waste this person's time and like actually explain to them how I actually am.
Yeah, it's like sort of when someone sneezes, you always have to say like "bless you."
The
Instead
same
of
thing
just,
as
like,
asking-
That's a
what it is.
good point.
It's- you always
Yeah,
have to say
people
"bless
usually don't
you."
say that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna explain it though because like you're like, oh, this person doesn't want to hear about all this.
Right.
That's like
You're
what
like-
you think in your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But in reality, people actually do want to.
Yeah.
Well, most maybe it's like like there are people who do actually want to hear it.
Yeah. That like can like sit down like that can listen. I think there's like a lot of differences with that. Like people just like you just going by asking like, hey, how's your day? But like there's a difference between like hey, how's it going? Like how are things? Like there's like that's different than like
yeah.
just
Like
I don't
besides
know.
genuinely asking and like just asking, you could be like, because you could just say like, oh, how are you? But you're like, you could like, you could ask them twice. Like you could be like, oh, if they say good, are you like, and you could be like, are you actually good though?
Okay.
You could tell based off the tone of their voice maybe too.
But I'm like
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better with like being honest about that though, because I'm always
Yes.
like trying to like say like good or always
Yeah.
trying to be like everyone. I feel like we all have different like, not like masks, maybe like social masks that we like
Mhm.
can wear. It's not
Mhm.
always like a bad thing, but
Yeah.
we can like get into like this places where it's just like, oh, I'm always have to be like the cheerful one out of like a friend group or the cheerful one in like their relationship.
Or maybe they're like not genuine about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like that really just reminds me of those commercials of like like those depressants. Is that what they do? Depressants, those medications that make you more happy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the phrase.
Oh,
Mhm.
Of like people with the plates, they have like the happy smile over like how they actually feel.
Oh my gosh,
Do you know what
yes.
I'm talking about?
I don't know the
Yes.
commercial, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing.
Where it's like a mask where just like
It's that sort of thing, which is
yeah. I think men. I think we have we do have like social masks that we wear, and it's not always a bad thing. I'm not saying it's always a bad thing. Like it could be like, oh, I'm always like that. The funny one, the one the jokes are the one that's like, the one that's like, chill. Like I'm chill. Like I'm chill. Everything's fine. But then it could be like it can like lead into some like pitfalls where like things are going on and then we can't like
then we can't express it.
yeah.
I feel like another big thing about like men's mental health is like, I don't know if I guess we can talk about this in a different episode, but like the way you like present yourself. I don't know if we already mentioned that earlier, but the way you like present yourself and how like the norms of like how you like dress can like people can look at you like a certain way. And that
We can talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that as well.
Mhm.
Like colors as well.
that too.
um,
Yeah.
Like the other day, I wore like a purple shirt, and I used to be like, oh, I'm not gonna wear purple. That's a girl's color because that's how I was raised. Of
Exactly.
Which is like, surprising because I see you wear a lot of purple.
I know, but
surprising.
it's that one purple
Nice
shirt.
colors, nice
Like
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to wear pink when I was little because my mother said people would make fun of me. Like that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
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 It's like, but then I started wearing it, and I felt good wearing it, and I actually got compliments of people. Oh, you look good in purple. I'm like,
You get the opposite
People
of what
say
you
like you look
expect.
good in pink.
I'm like,
Yeah.
thank you. But like, especially, it mostly comes from like when you grow up, like especially like elementary school and middle school.
Don't get me started on high school
Oh God,
or middle school and high school.
Oh
But, like,
my god.
Don't get me
those are
started.
definitely where you can't wear something that's
can't.
out of the norm because kids are
sure.
who are gonna be raised the same kind of like sort of the same way as you, where they only like guy things. They only wear red, blue,
Yeah.
black, green,
Yeah.
and like if you wear something pink, oh, you're a girl. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're gay. Oh my god.
That's a good
Yeah.
point that you said though. That like there's definitely less stereotypes in like college, 100%,
For sure.
There are.
like easily.
Wait, you mean like what do you mean by that? Like less
Like, I
like
guess,
less people like less like oh my gosh.
Yeah, kind
Like
of.
this. Which is a good thing that we can like that's why I'm glad that we were able to like have this. I don't think I would ever do this in like high school. because
Yeah.
it just like I wanted to like do something like, but it wouldn't work because in that realm, it's just a toxic realm that you can't just break out of like
Can't
the
break
norm.
out of it.
Which is where we end up today. We're all like we're freshmen in college, and you're a sophomore. So we
Yeah.
just sort of like we enter that college post high school
I-
life.
Dimitri, I legit didn't know you were actually a sophomore. I thought you
Well,
were a
like,
freshman.
I took 1 year community college, so yeah, technically,
Okay.
Right.
like I haven't been here for a year. This is my first year here, so
Okay.
that's basically why.
The more you know, we get to learn more about each other on a podcast. Isn't that cool?
Of course.
Like, that's cool.
Interesting facts about each other.
I mean, we only know each other for like what, 3 months?
I don't know.
You and me, definitely, because we've been banned.
Almost.
Oh
3.
my
But all of
gosh.
us together, we know each other for like what, 2 months?
I met you on like the second night.
Yes.
At the island thing.
No, wait, that's true as well.
You helped
yeah, that's
like
almost-
I would say like being like friends with you like helped me like force me out of like those masculine
Yeah,
things
like
because
likewise.
it just
Wait,
yeah
what do you mean?
like just like being like trapped in like certain like masculine like the man box. We can call it the man box of like
Man
how
box.
the man
Man
box of
box.
how we're supposed to like just adhere to these rigid rules about how we're supposed to just be.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to like not. We're supposed to not show someone how much we care because that will just it's
Oh,
just
I see.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're not supposed to
I feel
like
the same
have
way. I
all
feel
that
the same
stuff.
way.
We're not supposed to have all that, but when it gets down to it, it's definitely does get uncomfortable when you're changing, but it's like beneficial though.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable at first, but you realize there's like a lot more freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
yeah, I would say mental health. Did I answer this question about what mental health means to me? Or
I don't think you. I don't think you ever went actually.
I don't think you straight up. I don't think you straight up answered.
I
I
don't
think
think you
only-
really want to know. To be honest with you.
Maybe we did. We all answer this question.
Yeah,
I'm not-
I
we
don't
did.
know.
I did. I don't know if you did. You
Did I
answer
do
it?
that?
I don't even know if you answered it. I think I'm like.
Was I the
don't
first
know.
one to answer it?
I know
I-
Danny did.
You
I
did.
think only us two did.
I think Dimitri,
Oh, wait.
Dimitri, Micah, and I did.
Norm's
Did
on
you
this
answer?
episode yet.
I don't think you did.
I don't remember, but anyway,
You can go anyway.
what I'm saying is that it's just such, and I think we can all attest to this. Like even starting this podcast is like just so freeing that we
Mhm.
could just come and just like relax and like just talk about, you can say be vulnerable or be honest or just show ourselves. It's just like so freeing instead of just what we're so accustomed to. And I think that's what the true mental health like journey that we're all on. We're all like trying to figure that out of like how to have. I think another thing is like we need to have like safe places or just like places where we can actually do that. Cause I don't know. I feel like we need to like have more of that, like more of what we have on like every Monday, where we can just like come and just sit down and just talk about like our week or whatever. If you understand what I'm saying.
You mean for like the next? Yeah, that'd be a good thing to do for the next one. Or like.
No, I meant like, and just in general,
But I
we
mean,
just
like-
need to have more of that.
Yeah.
You mean
yeah.
just straight up
Yeah.
like more normal conversation?
Yeah, there's like normal
okay, I
conversations
see,
because
I see what you mean.
and that's something that we're not like used to.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see, I'm trying not to like sound sexist on the podcast.
Ooh,
Say
But
like a
there's a lot
face-to-face
of-
conversation.
we're gonna
There's
cancel
a
the
lot-
first episode. No, I'm kidding.
There's a
First
lot of
episode.
okay. What I'm trying to say is that I feel like we can learn a lot from women about how they interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're being honest and they're being like open. We don't have to do everything like the same way, but we can be like inspired by how they are. You don't know who. I don't know if you guys know who Brene Brown is, but I'm very inspired by her work about like shame and like how we are forced into these gender roles or just not even that, but forced to not be or not. You know what I'm saying?
I do what you're saying. Yeah.
And that leads to
understand.
like mental health is like I think all around that topic of like, are we being able to discuss important things that are going on? That's that's what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
And people sometimes don't want to like explain about their mental health because they feel like shameful of what is really going on with them, or they feel ashamed. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
shame is a
Yeah.
big word. We have an episode on shame. That's a huge word about like how people just feel, I guess, that someone would either judge them or, which let's just say this is a judgment-free zone.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yes.
podcast is, and
Mhm.
Of course.
that they would either like just like shame them, because shame is basically saying like I can't reveal any parts of myself, or shame is like there's a lot of things that go into shame, which I actually want to write a book on, but
Ooh,
All right.
I'd read.
but yeah.
In the future, if Micah writes a book, this is a plug to go read it.
It can tell you a lot about men's mental health.
Yeah. I think we all have like something to contribute to a conversation, even if you're not like a psychologist or a writer or whatever.
Yeah.
We all have
Mhm.
like we can relate to someone like growing up and someone saying like, "Oh, just toughen it out."
Yeah.
It might be less today, but like in less than today's time, but we can relate to that, or at least like our fathers or grandfathers having to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or, like, I think another interesting topic that we could, I don't know, we don't have to talk about it now, but at a different time, is like how we always we always reminisce back to when we were like in kindergarten, and we could talk about like what made kindergarten so great. Or like
Yes.
why were we so happy in kindergarten compared to
Yeah.
well like why do we think we were so much happier in kindergarten, or like
Yeah.
even in like middle school? I think that'd be an
oh
interesting
no, middle
topic.
school. I wasn't happy in middle
I,
school. but
I was
not
happy
in
I-
middle
I-
school.
well, no,
Middle school
I'm
was,
happy
like,
now.
the
I'm just saying like what
Yeah.
makes us think like we were so happy when we were like so much younger.
Also like nostalgia.
That's
stuff
a
like that.
good point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that is a gender thing or not, but
Yeah, that's true. That's not really a gender thing. I
but
guess.
no, that's definitely good to bring up because
Not really a gender thing, but yeah.
because middle school, oh my goodness. But I do see what you mean by kindergarten. Like all of like, I wouldn't say all of us because I can't speak for everybody, especially not in this room.
Of course.
But like,
Mhm.
kindergarten, that's definitely the more innocent,
Yeah.
happy time.
And then
Right.
yeah, it's like I don't know. It makes you think about like Christmas time, and you see like, those old nostalgia videos.
Yes. VHS even like no, not like but like,
That too, kind of. Yeah.
Kinda in
like,
a way.
literally, Yeah, that's like
yeah, I kind
it's kind of off topic. I think I don't know. I
Sort
don't
of
know.
like how you like that is good. That does go into mental health, like how sometimes we think like back then everything was like so much better than it is now.
Yeah, I
But
feel like that's bad.
is that like actually true?
It's bad also though. Like I feel like another thing that people shouldn't do. Any men listening to this, you shouldn't. You can reminisce about the past, but don't like
make that your future.
exactly like don't
Yeah.
you gotta focus on you gotta focus on like the moment. You can't like if you can't like for example like I was talking about relationship or anything
Regret.
like that. Yes.
Regret.
We were talking about yesterday in men's group.
Regret.
The same thing. You can't let that. You can hold on to it for like at most like a week or two, maybe like a month. But like even in my example, like it took me months to like. It took me months, but like eventually, because like you're not bettering yourself for all. Right? You're just kind of like in the same mindset, like oh I should have did this, which is fine to do for like like I said like a day or two, like a week. It depends, everyone heals differently, but like yeah, you gotta like eventually just don't do it forever. Like you gotta like realize like this is not helping you at all.
That's it. Regret is a huge topic that we can talk about
Indeed.
as well.
For real.
Hey, we're just jotting down episode ideas at this
We gotta
point.
write these down. So we're gonna write
Yeah.
these
In
down.
post, like we can just like listen and be like, okay, yeah.
We got at least like 6 or 7.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are enjoying these ideas. Really, I want to do this. This isn't for myself. This was for everyone. It's for the men listening and
Yeah.
just for you guys.
Yes.
I want
Mhm.
to because it's for you. It's about men. It's about like how can we contribute to like conversation about mental health. How can we be more honest in a world that doesn't like always accept that honesty? How can we just break out of those norms, and how can we overcome certain like mental health like battles in our life, whether it be like regret or whatever? How can we like go through that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will help men get through that.
Not that we're men. All right, so yeah, I feel like that's a good way to end.
Yeah, I feel like it's a
Um,
good time to
So, yeah, that's it for the first episode of Men's Couch Mental
Okay.
Health podcast.
I have a good message. One more thing, men, you can wear whatever you want.
Indeed.
Don't let anyone tell you
Yeah.
you can't.
It could be pink, because pink is the
Yes.
manliest color of all time. But yeah,
I
You
kind
have
of want
something
to like
to say,
end
Dan?
it off
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go for
So
it.
so another message to say like to the whole world is like always be yourself and like always be happy for who you are. Don't let other people like get you in the way of what you're saying or what you actually do in this world, because who cares? There's a lot of rude people out there and they should know like not to say those words. So always like be happy for who you are.
That's a powerful
Indeed.
message. I need to.
Yeah,
I need
Danny.
that.
Yes.
we're the
That's a
final
powerful
message. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
This is Men's Couch signing
Men's,
off.
Men's
Men's
Couch.
Couch
We'll
signing
see you
off.
all next time.
See you later, y'all.